Good morning students and welcome back in the online teaching of maths. Students, we were there in the chapter number 12, how heavy, how light. And today we will complete this chapter because only one question is left. So come to the page number 148. In the page number 148 there is another puzzle. Find that marble. Let's complete that puzzle. There are 3 marbles of the same size, but one marble is slightly heavier or lighter than the other 2. Can you find which is that marble, and if it is heavier or lighter, you can use a balance only 2 times. See what they are telling, that we can use a balance only 2 times to check whether the third marble is heavier or not. Okay? So let's move to the solution. See what was there on the solution. See, in this also we will call a marble 1 as a M1 because 3 marbles are there, M2 to the second marble and M3 to the third marble. Okay. So let's start the answer. We are over here. Okay. Let M1 equals to M2 and M3. See what they are telling, that M1 and M2. M1 equals to M2 and M3. Be 3 marbles such that one of them is slightly heavier or lighter than the other 2. Put marbles M1 and M2 in a different pan. Now 2 situation arises. See what they are telling, that first of all do one thing, that put a marble M1 equals to M2 and M3. The 3 marbles, and then put marble M1 and M2 in another different pan and M3 on the another different pan. Now the two situation arises. Okay, so first one is, if the 2 pans balance each other, the marble M3 is either heavier or lighter than the other 2. Okay, see what we are doing, M1 and M2 we are keeping in one balance, in a one side of the balance, right? And M3 on the next side of the balance. So if now both of the pans are equal, that means on the one side we are keeping 1 marble and 2 marble, and on the one side next side we are keeping only M3 marble. That means the M3 is having the weight of M1 and M2. Getting? Now this completes first weighting. In order to check whether the M3 is heavier or light, take marble M1 and M2. See what they are telling, in order if you want to check whether the M3 is heavier, then we have to put it in the pan with the M1 and M2. The position of pan containing M3 gives the required result. His pan goes down, then M3 is lighter than M1 and M2. See what they are telling, that if the M1 and M2 is heavier, then that pan will move down, and if the M3 is heavier, then that pan will move down. Okay, that means whatever the pan goes down, that is considered as a heavier. The position of the pan contains M3 gives the required result. His pan goes down, then M3 is lighter than the M1 and M2. As I told you that if the M1 and M2 is heavier, then this one M3 will move to the upward direction and the M1 and M2 will move to the down direction. M2 is lighter than M1 and M2. Then thus the result is known as the second weighting. See what they are telling, that this is the first weighting we have done. If the M1 and M2 is heavier, then the M3 will go down, or either if M3 is heavier, then the M3 pan will be move to the upward, downward direction, and M1 and M2 will move to the upward direction. See, it's very difficult thing over there. Let me show you the pen. See what is there in this. This is a balance and this is the pen. Okay, what I am telling, put a M3 over here. Okay, and M1 and M2 over here. If the M3 is heavier, then this will move to the upward direction, right? And if this one is heavy, then this will move to the upward direction. That means And while doing this, we will come to know that which one is heavy. Okay. See, if M1 is heavier, then this will move to the down direction and this too will move to the upper direction. That means the M3 is having the weight of M1 and M more than the M1 and M2. Getting, students? And if this one is having the more weight, M1 and M2, then M3 will move to the upper direction and this both will come to the down direction. That means M1, marble 1 and marble 2 is having more weight than the M3. Getting? It's very easy. Just what they are doing, keeping the M3 on the one side and keeping the M1 and M2 on the next side. So while doing this, we will come to know that which one is heavy and which one is lighter. Now we are on the case 2. See, what was there? If the two balance do not balance each other, let M1 less than M2. Take M1 and M2 on comparing their weight by the balance either. See what they are telling, that in the case 1, if the M1 is less than M2, that we can directly keep M1 on the one pan and M2 on the another pan, and we will come to know that which one is heavier. Okay. But here only 2 chances are given to check this one weight. Only 2 times we are using a balance, so the confusion is there. M1 equals to M3, then the M2 is heavier than M1 and M3. See what they are telling, that now what we can do, we can keep a M2 on the next side and M1 and M3 on the another side. If M1 less than M3, then M2 equals to M3 and M1 is lighter than the M1 and M3. See what they are telling, that if M1 is less than M3, marble 1 is having lower weight than M3, then M1 is lighter than M1 and M3. M2 is lighter than M1 and M3. So this is how they are measuring the marbles. Okay, nothing they are doing, they are just keeping the marbles one by one on the one side and another side a next single marble, and then after they are just doing the balance of the marble, and then they are getting the conclusion that which one is heavy and which one is the lighter. Okay. Now students, here our chapter is over. Already I have uploaded the PDF of this. You have to complete this chapter in your notebook. Okay, maths notebook. So that's all for the day, students. Next day, in our next video, we will start a new chapter. Okay. So before that, you just be ready, get ready with your notebooks and with your doubts and whatever you are having, just clarify it and complete your book. Okay. So that's all for the day, students. Have a good day.